1 maxed out MacBook Pro, 1 iPad Pro, 1 Springboard Bootcamp. Yo, this is Oscar and I am coming back to the design world. Will these tools help me become a professional product designer within these next couple of months? Welcome to my series on Dodefy, my journey to becoming a product designer. Welcome back to another episode on Dodefy. Like I said, I'll be breaking up week 7 and week 8 because I felt like they were too long. So let's move on. So on previous episode, I talked about research plans and what it takes to write one. So if you want to watch that, go to my videos and that'll be on the list if you're interested in watching the research plan. Because it's a super critical step to knowing what you're going to research and what kind of method you're going to use to do your research. So this follows the research plan. So what the research plan that I did was a screener survey, which is surveying people and asking them specific questions, not specific questions, but asking them questions, precise questions that are able to get enough data in order to solve my problems that I had. And this requires a lot of thinking, because you don't really want to be leading the person to answer a specific way, but more like a natural response from them. It requires some practice. So I would recommend you to make a survey on Google Forms and actually write some questions, and maybe perhaps have another UX designer look over them and give you feedback based on that. Or if you want to, you could also register for Springboard. Springboard is awesome, amazing bootcamp that I registered myself. It's so helpful. I get mentor help all the time and feedback from my mentor. And if I'm doing something wrong, she mentions it, and then I fix my mistakes. And that's how, as a person, you're able to grow, fixing your mistakes and improving your overall knowledge based on that. So what a screen survey is basically the same thing as a survey again. It's asking participants specific questions. So I'll head over to the computer right now and give you more of an insight. So this is my screen survey that I did. And as you can see here, I have understanding nutrition labels readability. So on your title, you have to include a title for your screener. Don't really make a title that is leading to the person taking the participant taking the survey, because it'll influence them and motivate them to actually answer something that it's not based on their own opinion and behavior. And something very simple title is just fine to use. And then following that, you should include a description. If your study is very confidential stuff, include that it's your information is going to be confidential, and that's going to be private and secured, stuff like that. So basically I listed oh, thanks for taking my survey. My name is Oscar, and this is to help me with my UX and UI. And basically just said about the study, and is about how you understand and read nutrition labels. Your information is completely confidential, to feel free to answer honestly. So I felt that was critical to for them to be honest about their responses. So depending on your problem and what it is, as a UX designer, you have to know what questions to ask. So for this question, I immediately thought that my mentor helped me out with this question. But in the United States, there's nutrition labels on food packaging, and it's basically in every food. So I wasn't too sure about other countries, and that's why I ended up for those only that live in the United States. So what's good about user screener surveys is that you get to see who you're gonna interview in the end based on the response, and you kind of want you kind of want to know, ask questions, and then want to know what kind of people you want to interview based on the responses. So that's another thing to have in mind when you're creating this specific screener. And then I asked, how old are you? And put the ages from like teenager to young adulthood, later adulthood, and adulthood, and later adulthood. Like I actually looked it up, and this is based on like actual psychology, grouping, categorizing these stages and ages. So I thought to consider that was important, and to know how old they are, because I felt like in a way that teenagers don't read as much nutrition labels as opposed to older adults and younger adults. Me as a teenager, I had no idea about nutrition labels, but I was always interested in what it was and how to read them. So that's what made me fascinated with nutrition. And then I asked, what is your gender? Like female, male, and prefer not to say, or other. So another thing for your screeners is to put other, in case the user doesn't feel comfortable answering like any other option. So including other is always important. And then following that, so I also listed, do you look at labels before or before you buy or eat foods that you never ate before? So here I asked people to rate it from a scale from 1 to 5 when participants look at the labels, like not at all, or look at it all the time when they're eating new foods. So it's a good way to like actually see in what kind of like level the participant feels that they are at, and it gives you like a better option than just like listing like yes or no, or yeah, it gives you like more variety if you put like level and intent and like different varieties instead of just like yes or no or maybe. Like it gives you more information based on their response. And then how confident do you feel reading and understanding nutrition labels and values? So I said it again, I rate this from a scale from 1 to 5, and then 5 very confident, and 1 being that they don't understand. So yeah, again, with the same question, it gives them like more variety of ways to get more of an insight of the participant instead of just like simple yes or no. So what level of expertise do you feel you understand nutrition labels and values? So I thought this was very important because some people consider themselves experts or proficient or beginner, not really knowing much about that. So I thought it would be easier to categorize a participant in what kind of level they feel like they are at. Also including other, just in case like there's another level that I might not have included, or what they think about that. And another good thing is including select all or apply, and I listed it in the beginning so the participant can know that they can actually select more than one option. So where do you look at nutrition labels throughout the day? So I put the kitchen, the grocery store, school, at my office, work, or remote. I thought working remote would be a good option to put because a lot of people work remote. And while eating, going out or takeout, online grocery shopping, I know that groceries applications have nutrition labels in their food options. When you're picking out food online, it actually has a category where you actually see the nutrition labels. And then I don't look at nutrition labels is another one. And then other again, because they're putting they could have another response that might be actually helpful for you. And then also another select all that apply. How did you learn to read and understand nutritional labels? I put school. So a nutritionist or trainer, online blogs, online articles, or online journals, I categorize that as 1 because it was all like online information. and videos. Well, this online information based on like text. So I thought it was important to include that, like if people are interested in reading a lot or not. And videos, educational, and like YouTube, books, and then don't know how to read them, and then other again. So if you don't understand how to read nutritional labels and values, why not? So I thought this question was super important because like what's the reason that they don't understand like how to read nutrition labels and values? So not interested in learning, too difficult and complicated to learn, never taught in school, interested but never got into learning it. I want to understand and learn. I already understand them. So this question was very like beneficial based on the responses that I got. What age did you learn how to read nutrition labels? So I felt like this was good because there's different stages where people learn like nutrition labels and values. Like I myself learned it at young adulthood, but some people might have learned it when they were a child. Some people might have learned it when they're a teenager or later adulthood, or never learned them, you know? So I included other again. How do you believe will be the best way to learn these nutrition values for you? So I thought this was a very good question in order to know how people learn and how would they want to learn nutrition, how to read and understand nutrition labels and values. So it was either visually with images, videos, and charts, and auditory, audio tapes or podcasts, and reading, writing, so with text, and the kinesthetic learning is a hands-on and role-playing, and other, in case there was something else. And how motivated are you to better understanding nutrition and nutrition labels? So I felt like to see how people are motivated to learning or not, if they're really motivated or not really motivated, and to what scale they are. So I put not likely to highly likely, and I got pretty interesting results actually. The responses are pretty confidential, so I'm not gonna get into the responses. What else do you think you could read nutrition labels and values better? So I ended up including this in the last minute kind of thing, but I felt like this actually made me feel like some people to stand out as opposed to others, where they actually put something very like very interesting and informative, and I felt like, oh, this person listed something very interesting. I definitely want to interview them to see what they actually meant. So I thought this was a very good question to include in the study. So another thing is that you don't want to lead people, you don't want to motivate people, you don't want to put pictures. Like in the beginning, I was putting pictures here, nutrition labels and values. I was putting in pictures, but actually don't do that because it will help out the participant in answering the questions better without their actual natural behavior and opinion and knowledge. So not including pictures in this study was actually a good thing, like not including them. But I think it just depends. But I most likely would probably for my future studies to stay away from that, because actually motivates them and leads them to answering better, motivating better. So from previous studies, actually this has happened before, where users feel motivated by like specific pictures and they start answering differently. So yeah, this basically describes user screener surveys, and hopefully you guys found this very interesting, very useful for you, and hopefully you guys could practice this as your beginning stages as a UX designer. Hopefully it was awesome, helpful. Don't forget to like my video and watch my series on my product to becoming my journey to becoming a product designer. And yeah, leave a like, subscribe, comment, and for the next one, peace out.